Subscribe to semperBK Reactions.
I despise the agency. And why do I despise the agency? I'm not despising the agency. I'm not an internet lawyer. I'm not reading stories and forming my own opinion. I used to work for the agency, unfortunately. semperBK Reactions family, what's good? We back with another one. Yo, first off, before I get into this one today, I gotta say shout out to my subscribers. I ain't got too many, but yo, it's like I feel like I got 1 million. So round of applause for all my subscribers, yo. I really appreciate it, man. Like I said, to me, I feel like I got 1 million. So shout out to all of y'all. I appreciate. And if you're new, make sure you check out, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all of that. Make sure you check out some of the older videos. I'm telling you, I got some guidance, I got some knowledge, I got some tips, some things that you could really use. Again, I appreciate all of my people who have been here before. And again, if this is your first time, welcome. I appreciate you checking it out. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe. I'm always coming to you with some good stuff. Today, it's like I do that all the time, right? Today, man, really another one that's personal to me. The agency really rubs me the wrong way as a whole. This situation that we're going to be reacting to today, it really rubs me the wrong way because it feels like these people just feel like they're above the law, and I don't know why, right? So we're going to get into all of that. It's real messy because that agency is messy, right? But one thing I forgot to tell you is this. semperBK Reactions, hold up. Yo, did you tell the people to go over to semperbkclothing.com? Come on, dog. Listen, I need y'all right now to go over to semperbkclothing.com. I guarantee you're going to see something over there that you like. I mean, I got stuff for kids. I got stuff for the women. I got stuff for working out. I got everything you think you could possibly want and or need on this website. And then check it out. Check this out. I'm also offering you a promo code. Use promo code semperBK Reactions at checkout. All right, people. So today, man, we're going to be talking about a situation with ICE. And I want to give the disclaimer right now. I don't care about who you voted for. I don't care how you feel about the current administration. On this channel, I vow to not get too political, right? That's not my goal here. Because regardless of who you voted for, you could use, the information you received on this channel. You know what I mean? So I don't care who you voted for, right? And this is a platform, this is a space, this is a channel where respect is the utmost thing here, right? We don't deal with no disrespect. Me, I'm gonna be the one to delete your comment. I don't deal with no disrespect. I'm not responding to no disrespect. So if you feel like you want to be disrespectful, better you do it with yourself, your spouse, your kids, because you leave anything disrespectful in here, you ain't getting no attention. So you wasting your time, you wasting the keystrokes. Because if you a thumb thug, finger thug, no response you get from me, all right? So I said all that to say, I'm keeping politics out of this, right? But unfortunately, there's going to be some aspects of politics that's going to be touched on in this story. But again, I'm not downing whoever you voted for because I don't care. But this is a situation out of Minnesota, I want to say Minneapolis, where an ICE Deportation Officer, what he is. There's a situation going on. By the time you see this, I hope that he was under arrest and he had to answer up to the warrant, right? It's a lot going on. I despise the agency. And why do I despise the agency? I'm not despising the agency. I'm not an internet lawyer. I'm not reading stories and forming my own opinion. I used to work for the agency, unfortunately. And it was for a short period of time, 2 years to be exact, and I knew I had to get the hell out of there for a variety of reasons that I'll get into. But I despise the agency. So we're gonna get into the story. Before I get on my soapbox, I'm gonna do my soapbox after we get into all the press release videos, okay? So let's get into the first one, and I'm gonna react to them piece by piece, all right?
Mr. Morgan then visibly slowed his vehicle to match the pace of the victim's vehicle, opened his window, and pointed his duty weapon directly at both victims in the other vehicle while continuing to drive illegally on the shoulder. Both the driver and the passenger in the victim's vehicle felt threatened by Mr. Morgan's actions.
Now, again, I want to tell all of you people, again, this is my opinion, my professional opinion based on my knowledge, training, and experience. I was a local police officer. I was a federal police officer. Unfortunately, I worked for this agency, but I began working for this agency under a different administration where it wasn't wild and crazy like it is now, in my opinion, right? So again, when I speak to you about this here and about everything with this situation, I know for a fact, right? This ain't no information I'm getting from anybody. I know about ICE, right? This situation where this clown is driving, pointing a gun out the window at a vehicle, right? When there's no deadly threat, when there's no imminent danger coming out of that vehicle, right? There's no way he can tell me that he learned this at FLETC. There is no way. I went there. I've been to FLETC 2 times, 2 different agencies, once with ICE, unfortunately, like I said. And there's even the Atlanta Police Department Academy, right? For this situation that he was dealing with, there was no justification for him to be riding alongside this vehicle, scaring the ish out of these people, pointing a gun at them. Because furthermore, they probably just looked at, again, I'm assuming, right? He's in plain clothes. So they got this vehicle that's like, you know, riding next to them, trying to like match their speed while he's pointing a gun out the window at them. There is no, within that, what was it? 6 weeks? I believe it was that with ICE. I believe I was there for 6 weeks that time. Maybe, no, it was 8. It was 8 weeks. It was 2 months. There was no scenario. There was no training where we learned this is how you approach somebody that's here in the country illegally. You ride alongside them, pointing a gun out the window at them. Now, if they'd have said there was a weapon in this vehicle and the weapon was pointed at him, yeah, absolutely. He's riding next to them with his gun pointed out the window at him. Pull over. I can understand, but then that opens up another lane for danger, because if you're on a highway, you're on a road, there's other vehicles, there's pedestrians. Like, you gotta know your target and what's beyond. So that wouldn't be smart. But I tell you, this ish that one of these charges here that they're alleging that he didn't learn that ish at FLETC.
1 count of falsely reporting a crime. The 4 counts of assault are a result of Mr. Castro shooting through the front door of a residence with the intent to cause fear of immediate bodily harm or death to the 4 adults who were just inside the door. These charges have activated a nationwide warrant for his arrest. Here is a copy of the complaint. Mr. Castro fired his service weapon at the front door of the home, knowing there were people who had just run inside that presented absolutely no threat to him or anyone else. The bullet punched through the front door and struck Mr. Sosa-Celis' leg before traveling through a closet and lodging in the wall of a child's bedroom. Mr. Castro was not under any physical threat when he fired his weapon or even beforehand.
I got to do the Bobby Shmurda. What the F? This, and like I said, I'm going to get on my soapbox and talk about this agency. I think even the novice person in law enforcement watching this can realize that chasing someone that gets away from you, right? Unarmed, and is not a fleeing felon, unarmed, running into their own home and closes the door. I think the novice person can say you cannot shoot through that door to the point where you hit the gentleman and, could have potentially killed a child, shot a child. Like, what the hell? And then there's no surprise there's a warrant out for this clown. There's no surprise there's a warrant out for his arrest. And just because I despise the agency, I'm being objective based off of what's being reported from this district attorney. This is crazy as hell. Crazy as hell. You chase after someone, right? The entire time this guy is unarmed. The entire time he's unarmed. You're chasing him based on him being here in the country illegally. He gets away from you because you're probably overweight. I worked in this agency. I know the people there. You're probably overweight. Couldn't keep up with him. He gets away from you, goes in the house, closes the door. So you shoot through the door. That's in Georgia, and I don't know about Minneapolis. I'm sorry, Minnesota. I think the city is Minneapolis though. That's aggravated assault. You shot him. Some jurisdictions that's attempted murder because you hit him. This is ridiculous. And this is what I'm saying about, and I'm gonna get on my soapbox later about this agency, the mentality, and how it's horrible.
Or a broom. In fact, he was not hit at all. His own boss, ICE Director Todd Lyons, acknowledged that 2 ICE agents lied in the aftermath of this incident. Mr. Castro was one of them. The hastily charged federal case against Mr. Sosa-Celis and Mr. Alhornia were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they cannot be refiled. The crimes that the federal government alleged they committed never occurred. Yet, the Department of Homeland Security press release containing those lies and making accusations of attempted murder against individuals at whom Mr. Castro shot still remains on its website today.
And on top of all of that, now you're lying. 1001. Anybody who worked for the federal government, especially law enforcement, know what 1001 means, right? False statements. Now you're lying, right? And that's automatic grounds in law enforcement. By lying, that's automatic grounds to be dismissed, be fired. And now he's lying. Scum. This is my opinion, right? My opinion. semperBK reaction. This is my channel, my opinion. Scum of the earth. This ICE agent, not even an ICE agent, he's a deportation officer. That's another thing. Don't make him sound like he's something bigger than he is. He's scum. And he's lying. Lying because he know he did some BS. Now he's trying to lie to get out of it. Disgusting.
In the thigh. Mr. Castro is an ICE agent, but his federal badge does not make him immune from state charges for his criminal conduct in Minnesota. I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. There is no such thing as absolute immunity for federal officers who commit crimes in this state or any other. So what's next?
And that's another thing I'm probably addressing my soapbox. Because the president makes it seem as if this big push since he's been in office, right, to get all of these illegal immigrants out of here, some of these deportation officers feel like they are above the damn law and like state laws don't apply to them. Like what universe are they living in? They feel like because they're federal officers, right? They're federal law enforcement officers. They feel like state and local laws don't apply to them while they're conducting their duties. I'm telling you this, by the time you've probably seen this, he's probably already have been arrested, bonded out. But what they're going to try to do, they're going to try to move this over to the federal side, right? But I know this district attorney, they're not going to ease up. Because Minneapolis, they was like ICE went over there and tore their city up. So I know they're not going to ease up off of this. And he needs to go to prison. Just like she said, there's no absolute immunity from anything. No, he needs to go to prison.
Will be ineligible for a presidential pardon. While Minneapolis was being occupied by federal agents, Mr. Sosa-Celis, who was lawfully here in our community, was shot by an ICE agent who fired at him after he ran into his home, putting numerous lives at risk.
Did you hear, was here lawfully? So you shot the man because you shot through his damn door. You put his kids in jeopardy. You following him, right? You following him, pointing your gun out the window. And this man was in the country lawfully, right? So I don't know if he was a lawful permanent resident, which they call a lapper, or I don't know if he I don't know if he had some type of stay from whatever country he was from, right? So at that point, you're here lawfully, right? If you're a lapper, a lawful permanent resident, or if you have some sort of stay, like the Haitians had a stay for a long period of time until they're trying to throw that out the window as well. But the gentleman Sosa-Celis was here in the country lawfully, and you did all of this BS. I'm telling you, I despise ICE. I don't despise what their job is. Removing illegal immigrants, especially those dangerous ones, right? Not the ones that are working, not bothering anybody. They get a drunk driving arrest and you go for them, right? Because again, I'm speaking from experience. I know them deportation officers out there, they don't want no smoke with no MS-13. But let the hardworking man from Venezuela or wherever, let them come in. Let them follow your rules. Let them check in every month like they're supposed to. And if they slip up and they get into a fight and they get in a assault charge or they get a drunk driving charge, now you go search for them. You go catch them out in traffic, break their window, pull them out their vehicle because they got a drunk driving conviction. But you ain't messing with MS-13 because y'all are scared. I know this. I know ICE, man. I know y'all. Y'all are scared. It's pitiful. Y'all are pitiful. That agency is pitiful. Do I still have a few, very few friends that work there? Yeah. I don't talk to them about it, but personally, I don't know how they still work there. How could you still represent that? And you talking to a son of immigrants, a son of immigrants. And I'm sure some of my family members came here illegally, but y'all don't get it. You people that grew up, right? And I don't mean you people in a derogatory manner, but those of you who grew up with that white picket fence, everything was given to you. You had to want or need for nothing. You wouldn't understand that struggle that will make you do any and everything to get some sort of freedom, some sort of safety. You don't get it. I want to tell you all something. semperBK Reactions family. I'm a calm down, right? I'm so disgusted with them though. Let's look at the definition, the legal definition of kidnapping. Y'all see that up there? Yeah. Y'all see that? Let's look at that for a second, right? Okay. All right. I know a lot of you may not know this, but do you know, right? So let me give you an example first, right? Let's say when I was APD, when I was the Atlanta Police Department, I get dispatch sends me out to a 408. I need you to respond to Kenilworth and Campbellton Road, intersection at the corner, Kenilworth, Campbellton Road, Oakland City, whatever. Got to respond to a person shot. People are saying the suspect's walking eastbound on Campbellton. So I'm driving eastbound on Campbellton, and I roll up right next to the dude. Hey, I look, I got the physical description, boom, boom, boom. Gentleman has a firearm on him, the firearm is hot. We do a show up, people point him out, victims there. Yeah, Tom John, that's him, he shot me. I got enough probable cause. I'm charging this dude with aggravated assault, right? And here's what's supposed to happen. Here's what's legal, right? Here's how we follow the laws of the United States of America. I take this gentleman back to the precinct. I get on the computer, I contact a judge. Judge, how are you? Good evening. This is what I got going on. Here's my evidence. Here's all my probable cause. Here's my witness statements. This person I have here in custody right now, I'm charging him with aggravated assault, seeking a warrant. Judge reviews everything. Okay, Officer Davis, boom, boom, boom. I'll send it to your email. I have a warrant for this person's arrest. I take them to Fulton County Jail, where they're gonna await their arraignment, first appearance, et cetera, grand jury, whatever, right? Okay. Do you all know? You ready for this? Again, I know this. I'm not asking nobody this. All right, that's why I despise ICE. Do you know ICE, these deportation officers, they don't have warrants. They don't have warrants. They don't get warrants. Look at my screen. You know what come back to me, what their quote warrant is? Another deportation officer who may have 6 more months of experience than they do because none of them got police experience. And that's the biggest problem. None of them the majority of them don't have any law enforcement experience, but they want to be cops and they don't know what the hell they're doing. So this deportation officer goes to a deportation officer that could be a month senior, and that deportation officer is an SDO, a supervisory detention officer, right? Deportation officer, excuse me. It's SDDO. I think it's supervisory detention and deportation officer, right? So that supervisor, you write up some administrative warrant, that supervisor, your buddy, your friend that got 6 more months with ICE than you do, signs it and says, yep, go pick him up. That's kidnapping. That's not a warrant. That's not a warrant. That shit that they have and they go out for people, that's not a warrant. You know why? I'm gonna give you an example. If I knew for a fact that Tom John was inside of 1722 Campbellton Road and I have a search warrant for Tom, I have a search warrant for that location where Tom John is, right? If I can prove, and I know for a fact that Tom John is in there, I can kick that door in, go get Tom John. Do you notice how ICE, they don't go in nobody's damn house? The majority of the time, they ain't in nobody's house. They can't, because their warrants are illegal. They are kidnapping these people off the street, period. You can say what you want. ICE are kidnapping. They are kidnapping people. They don't have warrants. They don't have that warrant that a judge signs. No, it's another damn deportation officer. Despicable. Let me put up this right here. Look at the racial makeup of ICE, right? As you can see, right, the leading number of ICE deportation officers, they want to call themselves agents, whatever, they're white, right? And again, on this channel, I try to stay away from race relations, and you know, especially politics. But one thing, if I do got to get into it, I ain't gonna be disrespectful at all, because I don't accept disrespect. But as you can see, you see the racial makeup, right? Okay. I say that to say, again, I know for a fact that typical deportation officer who is white would not understand the struggles of a family living in damn Ecuador that's dealing with gang violence, being threatened, probably had family members killed, ain't got no job, trying to survive. There's violence every single day. The gang's trying to recruit their kids. That white dude, again, that grew up in farm country in Pennsylvania, they ain't gonna understand that. They just on that train, that bandwagon of get out of my country. They don't understand that struggle, right? I'm not saying all white people or all white deportation officers don't understand that struggle, because some sure enough do. Some for sure do, and I got a lot of love for those white people and those white deportation officers that are empathetic, right, to those situations that these people are facing when they're willing to walk across miles of a desert, face death, all kinds of crap, just to get here, to get to some safety, to get to some freedom, to make some minimum wage, to do some jobs we don't want to do, and we know we don't want to do it. I'll be damned if I'm going out there picking strawberries or apples and that ish. You crazy. If these people want to do it, by all means, let them do it. And they good with the money they make. And that money is helping they family back wherever they from. They ain't here committing no crimes. What's the big deal? But like I said, and I'm talking to you, ICE agent, deportation officer, you ain't mess with MS-13. You ain't gonna go, and I know this. You're not going after MS-13. You going after that low-hanging fruit that's safe, because you scary and you don't want to go after the real violent people that need to leave this country. You want to go after the gentleman that get into an argument with his girlfriend. He's here illegally, working, right? He's working. He's reporting when you want him to report, but he gets into an argument with his girlfriend. He pushes her. He gets locked up. You want to deport him though, right? But not MS-13. You don't go into Virginia, go mess with them MS-13 dudes, right? Because they'll cook that toast. You feel me? And y'all don't want that. Y'all wanted to stay safe. Let me go mess with this dude. I also blame this administration, right? along with some of these men, it's because it's mostly men. You know, my experience, it wasn't no women acting like this, right? These men who probably did nothing in their life, right? Because, you know, prior to me going to ICE, I did a whole bunch of ish outside of 9 years in the Marine Corps, right? But some of these men, fresh out of high school, fresh out of college, got picked on, bullied, right? Probably were fat, overweight, which is fine, but they got made fun of. Now they're with ICE. Now they got a badge. And now the president is saying, you will, law and order, blah, 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 ICE is boop, 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 this, blah, 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 blah. Now you like, oh my God, I got this power. Get all these people out of this country. Get them out. Now they just feel like they're a law and they need to clean up the entire country. Everybody gotta go. That's the biggest problem because like I said, there's no empathy. There's no empathy. I used to sit across from some of these people and I would legit ask them, hey, where you coming from? Was, you know, your travel with your family, it was tough, huh? I want to hear their stories and I want to let them know, listen, I got the utmost respect for you, right? You respect me, I respect you. I got a job to do, right? You know, and whatever had to be done with them, I did it. But I definitely let them feel a sense of comfort, you know, a sense of, look, you don't have to worry right now, right? You don't have to worry about the gang violence, where you're coming from. And, you know, welcome, right? Hopefully things work out for you. You know what I mean? And another thing for all you bozos out there, right? And I'm not talking to my semperBK Reactions family, not my followers, not my subscribers, not you all. There's some really, you know, arrogance. Buju Banton said, arrogance is much different than ignorance, right? So for you ignorant people out there, right? There's one thing I think you should know. Some of you clowns feel like all of these people they've come to this country illegally, and they have not. You're an idiot. If you go through a border crossing, right? If you come through and you have to meet with our border patrol, right? If you're coming through a port of entry, that's not coming here illegally, bozo, right? If they along the fence line of the US-Canada, the US-Mexico border, and they're climbing over a fence, that's entering illegally, right? If they're coming through Brownstown or they're coming through Yuma, Arizona at a port of entry, right? They're meeting with somebody from Homeland Security and they say, hi, how you doing, man? I see your documents. Oh, I want to claim political asylum. That's not crossing illegally, fool. They're coming through the port. Again, if they're climbing a fence or doing something outside of coming through a port of entry, that's illegally coming into the country. For you clowns out there. I used to be at my field office where all of the illegal immigrants, they come, there's check-in every single day, right? There was so much, it was backed up badly where, you know, all these people had to come check in. They had to, you know, it was basically just a check-in, check up for a month or however many times you had to come check in just to, really it was for nothing. It was for nothing. Are you still at this address? Okay, your court date is 5 years away. See you next month. That's all it was. I guess it's because I get the struggle. I'm a son of immigrants, right? Jamaica, Trinidad. I get the struggle. And I guess it's because of that I had, and furthermore, most of these people were older than me. But it's like some of these clowns I work with don't know nothing about respecting your elders or having respect in general. They was treating these people like they were kids. Mad disrespectful to them. For what? These people sitting across from you did nothing to you personally. This ain't your damn country. This ain't your country. You have a job to do. Process them, give them a court date, send them on their way. All of the extracurricular-ish, I hear some of them talking, and I would check some of them. I would surely check some of them. If I saw any and I heard any of them talking to some of these people too reckless, nah, I have to say something because it's unacceptable. They're not your children. They're old enough, the majority of them, to be your parent. And we are not the damn judges. We are here to process them into the country temporarily or however long, give them a court date, send them on their way. But I used to witness so much disrespect, so much mistreatment. It made me sick. And no, that's what I'm telling you. I didn't I didn't witness all of the BS and stay there. I witnessed all that BS, and I knew that this wasn't a place for me, and I got up out of it. And I just think about, you know, the excessive force. All of these videos we just see, you know, we see them being so aggressive. A lot of the times, again, I know what I'm talking about. This is from my professional opinion and my knowledge, training, experience. Some of the stuff they're doing is so uncalled for. So uncalled for, so aggressive, so excessive, Fourth Amendment violations, like crazy, right? But it's because, and again, I'm speaking from experience, and I'm willing to debate with any deportation officer that went through FLETC like I did to try to argue me on this point. Luckily for me, again, I was a cop before. I learned about de-escalation. I learned about verbal judo. That damn ICE Academy teaches you nothing about de-escalation. Nothing. Zero. You learn zero de-escalation training. So you learn zero de-escalation training. You're dealing with somebody, right? Potentially, possibly, a prior fat person getting made fun of all their life, right? Just wasn't nothing, never done nothing in their life. Now you give them a badge and a gun. And what do you think is going to happen? If they don't have some sort of decorum, if they don't have some sort of like common sense logics to deal with people on a professional level, what you think gonna happen? Right? A bunch of excessive force. And like I said, they weren't taught. Is it their fault? 100% no. Because the academy ain't teach no de-escalation. For my other agency that I was with, which was also under Homeland Security or federal law enforcement, I learned de-escalation. ICE, zero de-escalation. Atlanta Police Department, we learned all about verbal judo de-escalation. Because it ain't about you using force with everybody. Sometimes it ain't necessary. Sometimes all you gotta do is this and talk to some people. Not with ICE though. Not with ICE. And I mean, you think look at all these excessive force cases. Look at them. Look at them. And this is just a few. This is just a few here. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And again, they don't care because they got this battery in their back from the administration. So they're going around doing whatever the hell they want. And they feel like they're untouchable. Hence the situation in Minneapolis, where this clown shoots through a door. So my people, this one, as you can see, really got me bothered. But we're going to wrap it there. Please comment below. Comment below. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of that for me, all right? You gotta, what's that notification bell? You gotta hit that notification bell, man, so you can get updated whenever I drop these videos, right? Like I said, every week I drop. Sometimes I drop a little extra during the week too, all right? And before you go, right? Well, after you finish watching, you gotta make sure you subscribe. You heard my daughter, subscribe to semperBK Reactions, and also go over to semperbkclothing.com. Go get you some gear. Ladies, Father's Day is coming up. Don't leave them hanging, all right? Peace. Stay safe.